Welcome to the Education Exchange, where we aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students. Our guests today are CTE enthusiasts. That's career and technical education. I am your host, Superintendent Jeremy Caius, and let's tee this off by first getting their introductions. Mr. Stephen Chapman, George Moreno, go ahead and introduce yourselves to the audience.
My name is Stephen Chapman. I'm one of the governing board members for the school district. CT has been a big passion of mine. I was a CT student back in Westview before graduating in 2006. And I helped lead the WestMech initiative that got us significant amounts of funding over the last 14 years. So.
Thank you. My name is Jorge Moreno. I'm the CT director. I was a CT teacher for 12 years. Have been a CT director for the past 5. Very excited to share that, how I started my career. After high school, I was an aviation technician. Did that while I went to school and fell into teaching. I love it. I love sharing experiences with students and making sure they have the skills so after they graduate that they could pursue a career pathway.
All right. So I want the audience to really understand how passionate both of you are about CTE. So I'm going to have to share a story. And we call it the Pozole story. So, George, you were new to the district. You had successfully made it through rounds of interviews. And it's your first time getting to meet everybody. We're heading out for lunch. And you order yourself a nice bowl of pozole.
Big old bowl.
Big bowl.
Right.
And Mr. Chapman, you were present at the lunch. And you guys are going back and forth talking CTE, lots of questions. George, I remember a few drops of sweat coming down. But how much of that pozole did you finish at that first lunch?
I think I tried it a couple of times. I do have to say I can't wait to go back and finish a bowl, with your guys' present. But I remember that day like it was yesterday. The pozole was hot. The conversation was hotter. But I'm glad we survived, and here we are exactly a year later. Mr. Chapman?
Right. No, contrary to what you see in board meetings, I wasn't the one asking most of the questions, though. That was somebody else on our staff, so I didn't feel as bad.
All right. Well, you guys aren't just passionate about CTE. You're in a position where you can really help shape the CTE future of 14,000 students who are here in our schools every year. And I want to start with you first, Mr. Chapman. Talk about some of the programs that we currently have in place that you take some pride in, that you're happy that we launched. You talked about WestMech, maybe even go back to a little bit more about how that partnership with WestMech has helped our students, and just share a little bit about where we're at today and how we got there and how you were an intricate part of making that all come to fruition.
Yeah, I was like I said, I was a student here from 2002 to 2006. Took some marketing classes, our internship program. After that, I got involved volunteering with our CT advisory committees in this district and a few other districts. And started seeing all these great opportunities that kids were having, and medical programs, aviation, things like that we didn't have. So I was talking to people. I learned about WestMech, and eventually some folks said, you should run and get that on the ballot. So we, took 2 years to, for the election to happen. And since then, I believe we've gotten, well over $12 million in funding additional from WestMech for our programs. So for me, it's been great because we've not only been able to grow the opportunities for the classes we currently had, like our marketing programs, our culinary programs, but we've been able to add some programs, bring some programs back. Like we lost automotives at Tolleson for the longest time. Now we have a fully grown automotives program back in the district, which I think is fantastic. In addition, I think we've been doing a great job of expanding our partnerships with our business community. So lots of opportunities here in Tolleson to make sure that students are prepared for college and career, whatever they want to do. They'll have a skill set walking out of here, if not possibly job offers. I remember a teacher was telling me several years ago in our welding program at Westview that they took the kids on a field trip. I forget the name of the company. It was about 20 kids, and every single one of them left with a job offer from the company during the summer, making like 18 plus an hour with all the techniques that the teacher had taught them. So that's what we can do here.
And George, I know it's only been a year, but it feels like you've been a part of this family forever. Let's talk about that year in review. What are some of the new initiatives that you've launched over the past year to help grow our CTE program?
Yeah, definitely, kind of to piggyback after Mr. Chapman, I feel that very fortunate to be here. I want to start off with, we got some amazing, passionate teachers who love what they do. They love the impact that they're having on our community. We're waking up every day thinking about that, the 14,000 students you mentioned, and making sure that they have that profile of a graduate. That's our ultimate goal, is when students graduate, we understand that they need more than a high school diploma, that they got a dual enrollment credit, if that's a possibility, that we have a certification opportunity, that we have some work-based learning, and most important, that they have a vision of that career path that they want to pursue. We're really happy about that. The way we're going about that is by working with our teachers. As a support staff, we have amazing team, Miss Rose, Mr. Filario, Miss Garcia Tosado, who are looking at our teachers, working with them individually to see if they're missing industry equipment, if they're missing curriculum, or if they're in need of PD. We definitely want to continue to elevate those programs, so that way our students have the best opportunities and experiences, whether they're pursuing a career technical student organization where they get hands-on experiences to take place in leadership roles, or if it's just preparing for a certification. Our ultimate goal is, how can we make it easier for our students than it was, in previous years, because of the skills that we provided them here in high school.
Now, I'm going to take this next one over to George. With Commitment Day, we have been reaching out to a lot of new partners, especially in industries and different businesses. Talk a little bit about how is that shaping now, how you are able to take those partnerships and start to build new programs, new apprenticeships, new internship opportunities for our students. How are those conversations going with all those new connections that have been coming your way?
Yes, I think that idea was great, bringing community partners to our district, having those conversations. They're headed in the right direction. One of the things that we want to focus on is, what does our community offer for our students? What internships are available? So we're having those conversations. Not only do these partnerships want to talk about, the pathway, how to get there, but they also want to provide opportunities and experiences to excite students and make sure that they're able to overcome barriers. And one of the ways that we're doing that is by seeing what's it going to take to create that alignment between, if this is a class, if these are the skills, if these are the standards we're teaching, do they align with that industry? If not, how can we make sure that they align? How can we make sure our students are prepared so that they're matching what the skills are needed in those occupations? One of the things that we're looking at right now is really big is the tourism in our area. We talk about the Mattel, we talk about transportation. Mr. Chapman, you talked about automotive. These are issues. The health career path, the partnership with Banner, and then looking outside to see what else is out there, what's coming in new, and what are those hot industry partners that we need to continue to reach out to. But Commitment Day is definitely something that we're excited about in CTE because of the exposure that our students are going to get, and then the alignment that we're going to start to create.
All right, Mr. Chapman, when it comes to our policies, it's been said that they're written in pencil and you hold the eraser. So let me know, is there anything, I know you're only 1 vote out of 5, but is there anything else you're seeing in terms of new policies, new ways that you want to look at how we can expand our CTE offerings? Any obstacles you're seeing that we need to remove as a district to help those blossom even further?
Funny you mentioned that. I'm doing some homework for y'all to keep busy on a few things. But one of them is looking at our internship program, not just like for how we offer in the classes, but even like how we handle internships at the district for high school students, college students. Want to make sure we have a formalized process for that and market that well, because I think that's huge to show our community that not only are we hiring internally or hiring people from all over the place, but that we're providing internships to students in our community, former students from our schools, give an opportunity to come back and be a part of this district like I've been able to do, even as a school board member. So just looking at those, I think a lot of it too is just kind of making sure how we prioritize our dollars, making sure that we're expanding new areas that are out there. I think there's a lot more that we can do on the medical side with Phoenix Children's nearby, obviously Banner. I know we talked about some aviation stuff, possibly down the road. So, it's not just a policy piece there, but I think there's going to be, a big opportunity for us to make some significant investments. So I think we have the best thing we have is a group of dedicated, passionate teachers all over our district, that we've been able to provide resources to. So, I think being able to continue expanding on what we have. So I think at this point, most of it's just making sure that we're funding everything appropriately. And getting in more of our business partners to better support our programs, so that we're making sure that all of our programs are industry standard and that kids are getting internships and jobs after graduation. So, for me, it'll be looking at policies that are either hindering that or that need to promote those things as we move forward.
Definitely what we're all about, looking at life after high school and how we're aligning these students for life after high school. But I'll tell you, when you put out the marketing piece of it, George wasn't the only one I saw sweating. We happened to be in the marketing office as we're doing this podcast, and I saw lots of beads of sweat around the room. And I don't think it's just because we keep the AC turned off while we're doing these podcasts. But as we're looking towards the future, George, 5 years from now, you're still going to be here being a great part of this team. And tell me what life looks like 5 years from now, where you can look back and say, yes, I'm proud of myself. I led the charge with this great team. This is what we've accomplished. Like, what do you envision for 5 years down the road, where you expect our CTE programs to be?
Yeah, great question. So one of the things that I want to make sure that happens in our community is I want people to know what CTE is. A lot of times we start off with CTE and people are like, is that football concussion thing that we're referring to? And I just want to make sure people know that it's career and technical education, that we have 7 amazing high schools, that we offer great programs. We have 18 programs right now. We have 56 teachers, and I want them to be able to recognize the great opportunities that we have. Something that I look at, we talked about marketing. We're looking at getting some wrapped vans, so that way as our students are being transported throughout their events, that people could say, oh, look at that van. Look at that high school that those kids are attending. Look at all the programs that they offer. That's somewhere we definitely want to be. I want to make sure to continue those community partnerships that we talked about. I know I'm getting excited to participate in those Westmark meetings, learning about those industry that we have in our areas here in the West Valley, making sure that they're aware of the different programs that we offer, the certifications, the students that we're performing. And I can't wait to see that student who graduated in 2024 say, hey, I was part of that CTE transition. I'm happy that I was there because look at where I am now. So, for our parents, our community members, our school board, for everybody to be on the same page, like, what are we doing in CTE to continue to elevate and making sure that our students, whether they're going into a college pathway or they're going into direct employment, that they're happy with their decision and they're having that success that they're looking for their families.
All right, Stephen, same question.
Go ahead. Well, no, I was going to say a point on the transportation piece, which I think is a great plug for our students in the district now, and certainly for kids looking for opportunities who want to open and roll into Tolleson, is not just transportation, but our district, we're covering the cost for CT students to participate in conferences and events at the state level, at the national. I forget how many students we sent, all across the country this last school year. But those are things that them and their parents aren't having to worry about, so they can actually compete at that level, get access to scholarships, sit in front of, industry leaders across the country, and pursue their passions, whether it's FCCLA, it's DECA, Skills USA, what have you. So yeah, I think it's an important thing to mention to our community that we're covering those things for their kids.
Absolutely. And Stephen, I'll give you the same question for the future, Stephen, 5 years from now, so that you're giving them a high five. What do you see life in Tolleson like in regards to our CTE programs?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see, an increase in the students that are able to participate in our CT classes, which means, eventually down the road, needing probably more classroom space, being able to bring in more teachers to teach those classes. But I think that, if we can show kids these opportunities, especially at the freshman age, as they move on, that's going to better connect them to all the other classes that they're taking. and give them a lot of possibilities in the world. So for me, 5 years down the road, I'd like to see, a significant uptick. We have almost 14,000 kids in our district. If we can get to, as close to 100% of them, taking some form of CT classes, because at the end of the day, a lot of them are still going to be valuable even if they don't go into those career fields. I mean, stuff around coding, stuff around culinary, stuff around marketing. I mean, even just, getting a job by yourself, having some marketing and business skills, going out into the career space on your own. So even if you don't follow a track, so that's one thing I hope to see in the next 5 years, is us better promoting and getting kids into those classes, even if it's not a field they want to get into, but that there's still some skill sets in there that would benefit them, whatever they're going to go into.
So, George, on that note, I love the goal of 100% participation, but we know what some of the challenges are. And one of the big challenges is, while there are some CTE classes that we are offering here in district on our campuses, there are others that are only available if we send them out to a West Met campus, and that requires transportation, which has been a big barrier for getting a lot of our families out there. What do you see as a means for overcoming that barrier? Are you planning on having more CTE classes taking place on our campuses so they don't have to worry about transportation? Or what do you see as a path to work on to making CTE classes more available to more families?
Yeah, I want to start off with, Westmec, and thanking them for the opportunity to, not only provide professional development, but to make sure that we have resources to continue to support our teachers and our students. Something that we're very fortunate with our partnership that they've done this year is there are some students who needed transportation, they had a grant, and they're making that possible for a lot of families to provide them that service. I think there's about, if I could vision the Excel sheet correctly, about 50 students in our district, maybe about 10 students from each of our campuses that are going. But we definitely want to look at what those high in demand, high interest programs are for our students. Kind of take a look to see what's it going to take to get that program here on our campuses to facilitate that equity that we're talking about. And then second, to, continue to look at that budget to see if we could provide those type of resources. What can we do for our students, for our families? Because it's really important that we do all that we can, within our means for our students to be able to provide those opportunities. And, I'm really excited. I definitely want to continue to highlight the fact that there's some great programs. We're growing, which is going to lead to a great opportunity to continue to provide more programs. And when we look at those programs, we're definitely going to model after those high in demand programs or high industry programs, programs that really excite students.
All right, now I've been kicking around an idea with the West Mex superintendent that I want to share with both of you and get your reaction on. As you know, West Mech is looking at building a new campus right here in our boundary, right over there at the Algodon Center across from Banner, Australia. And what I've been in conversations with the West Mech superintendent about is us purchasing land right next door to them so we can build a small school where we can focus on all the core classes, but they can get all their CTE classes at West Mech by simply walking out of our door and walking into their door. No transportation necessary. Still working with John F. Long to see if we can buy some of that land away from them. But what would you two think about that possibility? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first. One, I definitely think that's a great idea. There's a lot of students. We know that CTE has a huge impact on attendance. And it excites me knowing that we're going to create an opportunity for those students who want to participate in CTE, and we're able to facilitate that. So I could see some very good academic increases for those students, who participate at that school. And I feel that partnership that we create with Westmec is very important. And I think I could see that growth in not only them facilitating for our students, but for us to continue the work to elevate all our programs within our district. I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and I think that for at least the few programs that would be there, we talk about transportation being a barrier. Now it's like right across the street or not even right across the way. So, I think that's definitely, a great opportunity for us to do. I mean, there's a lot of land in various places. I know we've talked about, once we get approval, we can start building things again, for our own small schools and, looking at CT and specialty programs ourselves to kind of keep more kids in there. So the only issue with West Mex sometimes is the seat space because they're serving multiple districts. But we do get a good chunk for our Tolleson kids, and we fight for those seats every year. But no, I think that's a great idea to start exploring those partnerships, because the only way it's going to work is if we work with districts like that have those additional resources for those programs to help us out.
All right, so you guys have the inside scoop on all things CTE. If you had a family member, a friend going to our district, and they came to you and said, what CTE program should I go to? What certification should I go after? Give me like your top 5 or at least your top 3 on, like, I would tell them they should look at doing this. Now, I know every student has their own interests and you want them to go for, what they're most interested in, what they're most passionate about. But assuming you have a student who's just like interested in everything in the world, what would be your top 5?
All right. Well, first I want to start off with all our programs have great transferable skills, but if I was put on in this scenario and I had to choose the top 5, is one are definitely I feel that business operations or marketing programs is definitely something to look at, because I feel that there's a lot of transferable skills there. The customer service, understanding the marketing, how to plan, how to organize, how things operate. Second is I would always say health. In Arizona, health is huge. So we have 2 programs out here, our sports medicine, our medical assisting program. I think they're really great. We're working on providing a PT, personal training certification. We're looking at the CCMA that we offer. Students who have that leverage of not only getting the certification, those opportunities, but that exposure to go down that pathway. Engineering is huge. I feel that, we have engineering programs at 2 of our high schools. They offer certifications, understanding, 3D printers is important, but most importantly, how to understand, how to fix things, how to build things, how things are processed throughout the system. I'm really excited that we have some really good law programs. I like the law programs. We're getting some opportunities for direct employment. Dispatching is huge. As soon as you graduate high school, if you could be a dispatcher, we're trying to create those partnerships with the different law enforcement agencies. That puts me at 3.
Oh, I thought you were up to 5.
Like 4 or 5 right there.
You're trying to get everybody in there, George.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though, before Mr. Chapman goes, Mr. Chapman goes, I think you at least got 5 in there.
Okay.
I love the way you categorize them, so that way you could make 1 count as 4, so you can try to cover as many of the teachers as you could. But I'll echo on that last one. I was talking to Mr. Dorfman over at the Tolleson campus. Right. And he let me know not only did he expand the number of sections of criminal justice, but yeah, he did just that, where 2 of his students went straight to being dispatchers right out of high school, which is a great opportunity for a high school graduate. So yeah, I'll definitely share your energy around the growth that we're seeing in that program. But before you try to cover every teacher, I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Chapman. Maybe he'll pick up the ones that you didn't get to give an extra shout out.
I just gotta say one of my favorite phrases right now. You got me.
Yeah, no, I mean, a solid list. I think, if I had to add a couple on there, I think, coding and stuff around programming, those classes we offer, 'cause I think cybersecurity, obviously is a big industry. Technology is ever growing, expanding. I mean, we're using a lot of AI and machine learning in our own district. So we need people that understand those things. Automotive, I think it's always been a needed industry, and now with vehicles moving to electric and, who knows what kind of technology down the road, that's still going to be something that we're going to need people, repairing vehicles, especially as it gets more complicated. And then I agree on the medical side. I mean, I know we're seeing, shortages in nurses, doctors, and, something I know we don't have that I've had some conversations with people about, as far as the need in Arizona is even vet techs. So even like, animal vet techs is a growing industry in the state of, or a needed industry in the state of Arizona. But no, I think that's a solid list, for sure of things that I would direct people for, and even just, taking some other classes like with those, like business and marketing. I think, has transferable skills within all of those, like I was saying earlier. Then did you want to cover the rest of the speech? Don't feel like we're leaving them out there. We got our culinary.
I was gonna say you guys are leaving out culinary. The students love culinary.
Everyone loves the culinary. Then obviously we're in education. We have future teachers and stuff through FCCLA. I mean, obviously we need more teachers, not just in our district, but districts all across the state. So programs like that are essential. We're never going to stop teaching kids. So that's going to be a needed field too.
So in short, you guys are saying all the programs are great.
Yeah, definitely. I would tell students, what is it that your passion is, pursue that and become the best at it.
Now, Mr. Chapman, you touched on the electric vehicles, but our current program does not teach our students how to operate on electric vehicles. There's a lot of danger with that, with the high voltage. What are you guys thinking on that? Do you think we need to be moving sooner, later? Like, at what point do you think we're ready to start diving into the world of teaching these students how to work on high voltage electric vehicles, knowing where the market's at, knowing where the industry's been going lately?
Yeah, no, I think it's something we need to look at. I mean, obviously, and in all things we do, safety is the first thing we look at. But I mean, even like with just new technology, we can't shy away from it because we don't understand it. I think that's, when I talked earlier, those policy, pieces, and there's investment pieces. It's going to be an investment. For sure, as we build it out. And I know we talked, about in the new school, possibly kind of building that in, since we'll, be able to kind of build from the ground up. But, even at Tolleson, I think, with the right investments and folks working there, that we could build, even a small, EV kind of program there. But yeah, it might take a couple of years with, learning about safety, what things we need into place. Maybe there's things that students can work on, throughout the day, depending on, what the pieces are there. But, I think it's something we definitely need to look at, because it's going to be a skill set that people need. I mean, there's Teslas all over the road. There's a few in the parking lot. I saw. So even just like
everybody makes an electric vehicle now.
Everyone's got an electric. We're getting electric buses.
We're getting electric. So we got to get our own mechanics trained on how to operate in high.
Segue back into the internship program. Where our kids go through our automotive program with EVs. Maybe they'll be able to go help assist with our bus bay when things go south. So,
George, how you feeling?
Yeah, no, I'm excited that you brought that up, because, having the opportunity to go to these different conferences, I actually saw a simulation type vehicle where we could get the car, the frame, the batteries, the engines, and not only our students have the opportunity to assemble, disassemble, but get those hands-on opportunities to really learn and engage and see how that operates. So I definitely see that as, something coming down the line where we need to adapt. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we need to do in CTE is, find out what that new skill, what those new professions are, and how do we get that exposure to our students so when they leave, they're ready.
Now, I'll tell you something that I've seen talking with some medical professionals, those in healthcare industry. One of the things they move towards, it's also high risk for someone to learn how to do neurosurgery, operations. They've been moving towards AI as their solution, that they can create an environment where you're putting on a set of goggles and you're operating away and you're doing all the same motions and everything else, and it's letting you know, whether or not your patient's surviving, like without the risk of actually losing any patients while you're trying to learn. Do you see AI as a path for getting some of these new programs where we can get the students the training, but without the risk?
Yeah, and I mean, it basically it's advanced operation, that fun game. But no, I think, again, we talk about not shying away from these tools. There's tons of them out there. I mean, even, when I was still in high school, they had like all the digital, cutting up the frogs and stuff, so they didn't have to buy frogs anymore and things like that. So yeah, no, I think industries are going to start moving in that direction for a lot of things, not just in medical. So, it's on us, 3 people sitting at this table, or my board colleagues and the rest of our team, to make sure kids have access to these resources as they're coming along, because they're going to be there whether we're ready for it or not. So we need to be ready for it.
Yeah, definitely. It just amazes me like how fast technology is advancing. I had the opportunity to see, the VR sets where, people could do a virtual oil change, could pick up tools. We have welders, and to think that we're just in that first generation, I'm excited to know, like, 10 years from now, how advanced that's going to be. Recently, I saw this laptop. You get this laptop. It's called Z Space, and I think they call it augmented reality. And it's like you could pick a part from your laptop screen, pull it out the screen, and have a 3D model and move it around. And so I think all these new instructional aid supports, I can't wait to start looking at them, bringing them into our classroom and getting that exposure. But even so, for those high risk, positions where we're like, maybe this is the pathway to go. I think it's a great idea.
So I'm going to kick it off over to you first, George. Perfect world. Money's not an object. You could bring any CTE program in the world right here to Tolleson. What would it be?
Something that I feel that would be good, like to start off, is aviation. I know we have that Goodyear Airport. They do a lot of maintenance, a lot of C checks out there. I know they are always looking for people. I think that's thinking outside the box. I haven't really seen it at other high schools around here, but I would love for students to see the blueprint reading, the riveting, the epoxies, the fiberglassing, and learning not just how to take things apart, put them back together, but understanding that there's predecessors, that things have to be done before the next step. I think it's a great analogy for a lot of things that we do, and I think it'd be exciting for students to be up and close with ailerons and understanding what airplanes are built from and the team that it takes to create one or build one.
Well, that's putting a lot of pressure on the conversations we're currently having with Aviate Academy and the partnership with United Airlines. But hopefully all of that comes to fruition, and we will be able to offer some more aviation. Mr. Chapman, same question. Any CTE program in the world, you could bring it here to the district. What would it be?
Yeah, no, aviation is good. We got culinary, so I'm good with cookies and all the amazing things they make there. But one thing I'd like to see us bring more into the district and expand all of our campuses is machine learning, AI technology, teaching kids how to write queries and things like that. I mean, obviously that's the new growing emerging technology. We're using a lot of it in our own district from Copilot. We're working on the master scheduling system that's going to be AI machine learning. So we're implementing some of these tools as it is. It's a growing field, so if we can give kids a leg up on the market as it is right now while they're here, for free practically at the high school level, then that's what we should be doing.
All right, so we've been talking about CTE, career technical education, but for a lot of our students, parents who either don't fully understand everything that's involved with that, or they're used to the old stigma of, the students who go to trade schools are the students who are not on track well enough to be able to make it into the universities or the colleges. What can you share with them to help enlighten them on why CTE programs are important and how they can help their students? And I'll kick it over to you first, George, if you could share on that one.
I just want to start off with that story. It's graduation night. Students are excited. They're going up to get their diploma, and a lot of students are excited to go to college, are excited to just being able to have that accomplishment. But we want to be able to ask those students, what's next? What's that plan? And I feel that CTE kind of brings it all together. Students need to be aware of career technical education and the skill set that they're bringing, like understanding whether you're going into culinary and what it's like to work in the kitchen, taking that engineering class and what it's going to be like to design, going into automotive, working with tools, understanding safety. And so that way they could get that entry level. I know that there's that stigma where we think about, I might not going to go to college, but a lot of times we need to think of that ladder approach. It's like, what's that first step to get to the next career step? And I like to think of it as simple as if you're an automotive mechanic, it's like, how do you become a lead mechanic? Once you become a lead mechanic, when are you going to become the master mechanic? When are you going to open up your own shop? When are you going to have your own corporation? The same thing for our medical assisting programs is we're starting off at this foundational, you're a medical assisting, but what a great opportunity to leave high school with that and still be able to go to ASU, U of A, NAU, and elevate yourself to say, hey, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be a nurse practitioner, and I still have time if I want to be a doctor. So we need to look at all those avenues for all our CTE programs. Like, we're creating a foundation for our students to get the skills, to get the hands-on approach, to elevate them to that career or that dream job that they're looking for. And I think we all could speak to that we didn't start somewhere and stay there. We all continue to grow and to move up that ladder.
Yeah, no, so, I mean, our economy, a lot of it's skills and services and trades based, whether it's from farming to hospitality to automotive. I remember when I was going around talking to parents committee members when we were trying to get Westmec approved in the district, and had a conversation with one parent that was saying, I don't want my kids changing tires for a living. And I was sharing with them, I was like, well, just the auto shop nearby, I mean, they charge about $100 an hour for labor. So it's not like a throwaway kind of job. Like, that's serious money, $100 an hour doing that kind of work. But I said, but the great thing about CT is it's not just about changing that tire. It's not just about learning how to change that oil. It's kind of like you said, there's a tiered approach, especially with our CT programs in our district, to where we're going to give you the skills that you need to work in the shop, but how to run the shop, how to start your own shop. Same thing with culinary. It's not just about, making sandwiches and making the best cooked steaks ever. It's a transferable skill to, what does it take to order food? What does it take to manage a staff? What does it take to open a restaurant? So CT is kind of the way to pursue these dreams, especially again, with a pretty large service-based economy that we have, is it's not just you doing random things, and not being able to go to college. And again, the data shows that CT students are going to college and achieving at much higher levels of success than folks that aren't going into CT classes.
All right, for both of you, one last one. For our parents, for our students, anything else you think they should know to help get them ahead on CT, like when they should be thinking about it, how they should go about it, making sure they get their classes, length of certification, any last bit of information you think our parents should know and our students should know about our CT programs?
Yeah, definitely. I feel I've always felt, doing that table talk, planting that seed with our students, making sure that we're always having that conversation. What is it that you want to do? What do you like to do? How do you plan to get there? I feel we need to reach out to our students, continue that conversation, make sure that they understand the why. Why do we have to have these skills, and how important it is that after graduation is the opportunity to demonstrate what we learned, so that way we can market ourselves.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, yeah, I think, I think it's important for parents to know, and even students to know that, if there's a career or even a college program that you're interested in, we likely have something here that will at least get you started on the right page, or on the right track, or possibly even get some certifications before you even get to the college, at almost no cost, whether it's here with Westmec. I want parents to know that these are something that you need to take advantage of. Talk to your students' counselor, talk to the teachers, email us, reach out to us on social media. We have like dozens of our social media pages. All the clubs practically have social media. There's something here for every student. So help your child find out what their interest is, and have a conversation with us. We have those programs available. We want to plug them in there to make sure that they're successful. The numbers typically stay the same, that kids that complete CT programs are still 90%, plus 90-something% still likely to go and finish college, get jobs and things like that because of these CT programs and the skills they provide. And that's a huge achievement to be able to say right there. So, if we're not over communicating it enough, that's something we all got to do, is over communicate the success of our CT programs across the district.
Well, I appreciate you both being here to tee off the conversation about our CT programs and being here for our students and being guests on this show. I also appreciate our listeners who tune in each week to the Education Exchange, where we aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students, and look forward to seeing you all out here again next week.
And that's the end of our show. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, want more information, or would like to be a guest on the Education Exchange, please send us an email at podcast@tuhsd.org. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and tune in next week to the Education Exchange. You can catch all episodes on your favorite streaming devices or directly at www.tuhsd.org/podcast.